Welcome to our keynote CAD for BIM Smart Objet Drawings. My name is Cedric Debord, and I have the pleasure to introduce to you Niknaz Aftahi, who will be our guest speaker.
Thanks, Cedric. Wonderful to be here.
Niknaz, you are an architect based in California, and you are the CEO and founder of AEC Plus Tech. Please introduce AEC Plus Tech for the people watching us today.
Sure. AEC Plus Tech is a website and also a platform that connects professionals in the design and construction industry with many new technologies that are emerging in the AEC space, architecture, engineering, and construction. It's basically connecting innovators that are making really great, exciting technologies to the end users of these technologies through case studies and real-world projects.
Yes, I think your concept is very refreshing for our industry. Today, we invited you to join us for this keynote because you published in AEC Magazine a very detailed review about the BIM features in ARES Commander. So this keynote was deeply inspired from this article that you wrote with the AEC Plus Tech team, and I'll invite you to all to read from the AEC Magazine website.
Thank you, Cedric. There's actually another article that we have on AEC Plus Tech blog that is about the collaboration between ARES Commander and SnapTruth. I'm very excited to be here today and to talk about ARES Commander, which is a very powerful tool. So in my experience, at every type and size of architecture firm that I ever worked, there was always a time that I needed to connect a BIM model to some CAD files. It was sometimes consultants who would send us CAD files, sometimes some of the employees in the office, some like senior designers who were just more comfortable using CAD. Even though BIM is becoming more central and more common in the architects and engineers workflow, but DWG CAD drawings are still used to document projects with a higher level of details than what BIM produces. And I think ARES Commander is really the only tool out there in the market that creates a seamless connection between a BIM model and CAD file. So today our presentation will fall into three parts. First, an introduction about ARES Commander and how it ambitions to fix the workflow between BIM and CAD users. And then we will continue with a quick overview of CAD for BIM features. And finally, we will dive deeper into the new features for BIM drawings automation. So let's start with our introduction. Cedric will get us started with a quick overview of what ARES Commander is and how it ambitions to fix the broken workflow between BIM and CAD.
Sure, this is important to understand the rest of the presentation because ARES Commander is a CAD software similar to AutoCAD and not a BIM software like Revit. We will come back into that in a minute. ARES Commander is Greber's flagship product for 2D and 3D CAD in DWG format. It is the number one alternative to AutoCAD in the world. In ARES Commander, we create 2D and 3D drawings that are saved directly in the DWG format. I mean, without any import or export. As a result, ARES Commander is not only fully replacing AutoCAD, but also offering a maximum compatibility as both programs use the same format. ARES is also a very robust program, trusted by millions of professionals, regarded as the second largest installed base in the world. Some of our most famous customers include LG, Samsung, or Hyundai, as well as 3 of the top 5 construction groups in Japan. Today, our presentation will be focused on the BIM features, but if you want to learn more about our CAD features and how they compare with AutoCAD, I warmly recommend to watch these 3 videos that you can find on the videos page of our website. Now let's come back to BIM. As you said earlier, Niknaz, BIM with 3D models and CAD with 2D execution drawings are 2 processes running side by side. At first, BIM software are heavily used in the creation phase. But BIM software do a poor job at creating drawings, and this is why in the second phase, CAD software are used to create most of the execution drawings. The problem is that in the meantime, the BIM model will continue to change, and this is a terrible waste of resources, because if you don't use ARES, the drawings will constantly need to be updated manually. It is obviously a terrible source of mistakes. The workflow between BIM and CAD is completely broken, and this is the problem we're addressing with the BIM features in ARES Commander. When I speak to BIM users, many of them are underestimating this problem. It is because they only see their side of the project. And sometimes they even ignore that in their company, there are many more CAD users than BIM users. Our experience is that on average, there are 4 to 10 times more CAD users than BIM users in construction companies. With Ares Commander, we want to make the best-in-class solution to create the delivery drawings for your BIM projects. Ares Commander is not an alternative to Revit. We focus instead on delivery drawings. Our goal is to be the best CAD software to work in good synergy with BIM software and create smarter 2D drawings. The CAD for BIM features in Ares Commander are not only available for Windows, but also for Mac and Linux. It is actually the same license, so a same user can even use different platforms. To summarize, Ares Commander is aiming at Ares Commander is aiming at empowering the CAD users with the intelligence contained in the BIM projects to solve 3 problems. Enable the CAD users to visualize and understand all the rich information that is contained in the BIM projects. 2, create drawings faster and with a higher level of details. And 3, leverage BIM information and automation to create drawings that will be smart enough to get updated if the source BIM project is modified. So to solve these 3 problems, we added in Ares Commander a number of features that aim at empowering the CAD users to work in good synergy with the BIM users. All these CAD features are not available in AutoCAD and included in Ares Commander at no additional cost. This year, we are going one step further with the new automation features. You will hear more about that in the third part of our presentation. To learn more, you may also visit the page körber.com/BIM on our website. This page will help you to dive deeper into the features. This includes also some videos to illustrate each of the key features. That's it for our introduction. Now I will hand over to Nick Nas, who will guide you through the features, sharing our impressions as an architect and expert who has been following new technologies in our industry. Thank you.
Sure, thanks, Cedric. So to begin with, we will take a look at the features enabling to import, visualize, and extract the BIM data. These are the features you see on the left side of the image shown earlier by Cedric. So it starts with the import of Revit and IFC files. Revit is supported from the version 2011 to the version 2022. IFC, or Industry Foundation classes, in the International Exchange Standard, enabling interoperability with the most other BIM softwares. The most commonly used versions are supported as well. So to import BIM files in Ares Commander, you will be heading to the BIM tab of the ribbon and use the BIM Navigator. You can not only import one, but also multiple Revit and IFC files that can all be combined. After importing, we choose to insert in our DWG file. In this example, we see one file for urban planning and another one for architecture. The ability to actually combine multiple files is great because it enables you to create drawings that mix geometry from different sources. Finally, after importing, you can assign a discipline, and this is something you can use later for filtering your BIM data. After import, we can continue with the BIM Navigator to explore our BIM project. We can select entities in the graphic area and they will appear highlighted in the tree of BIM elements, which is super helpful. And it also works the other way around, that you can select elements from the tree and then you see them highlighted in the view. These features help the CAD users really understand how the BIM data is structured. In the next steps, it could also help to decide which information you want to filter out. BIM projects are indeed oceans of information. There's just so much there. And these filters help you isolate the BIM data that is relevant for your drawings and is important to you. A simple example would be creating a filter that selects only the doors. We can also combine multiple criteria to fine-tune the selection. We maybe want to select doors and windows, but only from a specific floor. And following the same logic, we can create also other filters. For instance, we can now filter with only slabs and walls to see the structure of the building. Although Ares Commander is a CAD software, it's retaining all the information contained in the BIM objects. When BIM objects are selected, we can read all their beam properties inside the properties palette. For instance, we can read the thermal efficiency of the wall, and this kind of information will help the CAD user create a better drawing, create better drawing sets. Coming back to the filter with doors, we see that beam objects can be selected and the user can read their properties. When multiple entities are selected, we see their common properties. Reading the properties of these 4 doors, we can learn about their material and type, and then scrolling further down, we can read about their height and width. So beam data extraction is also very useful as it enables CAD users to export the rich information contained in beam objects into tables and spreadsheets. Indeed, using data extraction, we can access all the beam information and select which information we would like to extract. After making our selection, we can save it as a DET file that can be reused in the future in case we want to repeat the data extraction with the same parameters. This data extraction is in particular very useful to calculate quantities and costs for the project. So the extracted beam data can be exported to a table inside the drawing and or to a CSV file that you can use in Excel. Table entities in ARS Commander work the same way as in AutoCAD or other similar CAD programs. After inserting your beam data as a table, you can keep editing it. For example, we can insert more columns and use some formulas. If we enter a column with prices, we can use the extracted quantities to calculate our cost. Alternatively, we can use the exported CSV file and open it inside Excel, which is amazing. Therefore, beam data extraction is enabling us to share the beam data with non-CAD users. Let's move to the second group of features to see how beam drawings are created. This is the group of features you see in the right side of the image. The goal is to create floor plans, elevations, and sections, but in a smarter way. These are also the features that we will see later being automated. To begin with, we will see how these are used without automation. We are now touching the core of the beam features in ARS Commander, which consists in extracting 2D drawings in DWG format from the beam information imported. If you're a beam user, you may think this is something your software is already doing, but you need to keep in mind 2 things. 1, ARS Commander is creating such drawings in the DWG format. This is very important. This is important because you can share execution drawings. Number 2, ARS Commander is aiming at the CAD users who by definition cannot read drawings from Revit or other BIM software. The logic behind creating BIM drawings is pretty simple. From a 3D or 2D view, we will section our BIM model in a way that we will obtain a 2D flat shot. To create a section view, for example, we will place ourselves in the top view and indicate 2 points for the section plane, followed by a 3rd point. The drawing created will appear in the drawings part of the BIM navigator. Then we click on it and can see the result. The BIM drawings reflect the geometry of the BIM projects, but only the objects included in our BIM filter. When you use Revit or other BIM software, you can assign materials to the BIM objects. For example, walls can be made of concrete or brick. In 2D drawings, you expect to see such materials represented by specific hatches. The material mapper helps user to define such rules to style automatically the 2D entities in the drawings generated by ARS Commander. This is very helpful because you can easily track your materials. This is another great example of how ARS Commander can leverage the intelligence of BIM objects to create smarter drawings. The material mapper is a feature that is found in the BIM ribbon tab. On the left of the palette, you will see the material found in your BIM project, and on the right of the palette, you can assign materials from the ARS library. This is an effort you will only do once for all the drawings of your projects, before or after creating them. After making your selection, you can return to the drawing tree and do a right click to refresh the drawings. that were generated before, or just simply create new ones if you don't have any yet. The styles will be applied as configured in the material mapper. This is even true for multiple component walls. At many firms that I worked at, 2D detail libraries like wall section details, window details, they were still stored in the DWG format. There was basically no way for us to import these reference details into a BIM drawing set and keep them updated per the ever-changing and ever-evolving BIM models. Now with ARIS Commander, it's all possible and it's super exciting. After creating the BIM drawings, you can use the CAD features of ARIS Commander to draw additional details that could be missing in the BIM project. In this example, we see details being added to the roof, such as tiles and a truss. Using the CAD features, you can draw anything you want. And then we see, for example, dimensions and lights that were added. Finally, we may also use CAD features to draw or insert some detailed views, like this one representing the composition of the wall. In any project, you need dimensions and labels, but this is a repetitive and error-prone task because projects keep changing and drawings need to be updated. With ARIS Commander, you can make this process as efficient as possible by leveraging the rich information contained in the BIM objects. When you use these features, you can create smarter annotations that read the BIM properties. With the dimension change features, we obtain aligned information, aligned dimensions for selections of BIM objects. But the interesting part is when these dimensions are automatically updated. If a new version of the BIM model is loaded, let's imagine a client suddenly asks to move the window to the right, or one of the consultant updates some part of the design. After reloading the new version of the BIM project, we just refresh the drawing and verify that not only the design, but also the BIM dimensions are all updated. Again, these features are not only saving a lot of time, but also helping to avoid costly mistakes. Next, let's continue with labels. The labels library contains some ready-made labels, and you can add some more yourself. BIM labels can be used for doors, windows, walls, as well as rooms and spaces. And these labels are basically blocks with attributes reading the BIM properties of objects. Using the selected room label, we can, for example, insert the name, number, and areas of each room. Just like previously explained for the BIM dimensions, the content of these BIM labels will also be updated if a new version of the BIM file is loaded, which is fascinating. So all updated in a blink of an eye. And this is another example with doors. The default label is inserting the width and height. We can insert the BIM label by selecting objects or decide to label all the doors of the drawings at once. Now let's go one step further. You can also create your own labels. By saving a block with attributes in the labels library folder of ARIS Commander, by creating a custom label, you can virtually extract any BIM data. In this example, we see labels created for walls with the number of the IFC object. But another example could have been to insert the thermal efficiency or some materials. After finalizing your drawings, you can configure how you would like to present them. You may, for example, configure different sheets with multiple viewports and ready to print at different scales. A first method to configure the sheets would be to open the Sheet Set Manager, go to the Models tab, and select one of the BIM drawings previously created. But the main method remains to use the BIM Navigator. To insert a BIM drawing on the current sheet, we can right-click and select Place on Sheet. This is creating a viewport for which you will select the scale. Using sheets, you can combine multiple viewports at different scales, showing different BIM drawings. Needless to say, you can always customize the paper size, title block, and anything else you want to add to the drawings. After creating the sheets, your project will be ready to be printed or published to PDF. As mentioned earlier, drawings can also be inserted on sheets from the Sheet Set Manager. Now, if you want to share your BIM drawings with a non-RS Commander user, you can simply use the command hack and go to group the sheets into a zip file. And please note that you can also create new sheet in the BIM Navigator. RS Commander will create a new DWG file added to the Sheet Set Manager as an external reference. Using sheet sets, you can create a large number of BIM drawings and your project will stay well organized. RS Commander is also automatically creating callouts when you insert BIM drawings on sheets. It's not only saving time, but also avoiding a lot of mistakes. Because you change any of the names in the future, the callouts will all automatically be updated in your drawings. The value that RS Commander brings to the BIM table lies largely in its ability to keep the drawings updated, even when the source BIM project is modified. It's just like magic. Indeed, AEC organizations continuously encounter information-related problems when switching back and forth between CAD and BIM because they lack a robust bridge between the two paradigms. RS Commander answers this need by creating drawings that are resilient enough to be updated when the BIM model is modified. In my experience as an architect, it was always very tedious to keep CAD drawings updated. For many projects I worked on, we were putting together some of the sheets in CAD, most of the details, and all the other drawings were in Revit, and it was just absolute waste of time and resources to continuously keep everything updated. RS Commander is helping us to solve this problem. In the BIM Navigator, you can reload the BIM file at first. We see the 3D model being updated. Next, you can go to the drawing list and select to refresh them all. Alternatively, you could select to refresh only specific drawings. And this is something that is very important to know, that only the geometry acquired from the BIM model will be updated. And everything else will remain the same, which is great. In this example, we see that the user designed with RS an electrical network on top of the floor plan. These CAD details will persist when we refresh the drawings, so nothing will change. After refreshing the drawings, we see the floor plan was updated and a new partition wall was added. But the electrical network in blue is all the same, it's all preserved. As it's not linked to the BIM data, it will be modified manually using the CAD features of RS Commander to adapt to the new configuration of this floor plan. Finally, let's dive into the features helping us to automate further the production of drawings. This is something that I'm personally super excited about. While the manual drawings creation process is still available, the BIM drawings automation features provide a new alternative. The user can generate a set of drawings automatically, following a pre-configured customizable script. Before pressing the magic button, it's important to ensure that annotations will display at the correct scale. One method is to choose the annotative scale from the list. Alternatively, you can enter the can no scale command. Next, you will be heading to the BIM settings and find the automation section. And this is where you will select the drawing template to be used by the automation script. Just make sure to select the template with the same scale. Each of the automation steps can be launched individually. If you start typing BIM Auto with the keyboard, RS will show you the list of the commands. But the logic is to use the run icon to do everything in one click. To launch the automation, you will find the run icon in the BIM tab of the ribbon. It will execute the BIM Auto All command. This feature is in fact following the script to execute one after the other, all the automation features. The first step taken by the automation will be to create the floor plans, sections, and elevations. Now we see the automation is working. It's reading the BIM model to generate the drawings. By default, one floor plan is generated for each of the floors. Then the command continues with the sections and elevations. We've seen earlier how you can create labels for doors, windows, walls, and spaces, but this was done manually for each drawing. Now we will see BIM labels created for all the drawings at once. Nothing to click, the automation just continues creating the labels in each of the drawings one after another. Remember that these tags are blocks with attributes extracting the information from the BIM model. Likewise, we've seen earlier the BIM dimensions chain, but we had to select each side of the building to create them all manually. But with this automation, you get all your drawings annotated with dimensions created all automatically. After completing the labels, the automation continues with the dimensions, or more precisely with BIM dimension chains. The automation will create them in each of your drawings, but you can further adjust their styles as you like. The BIM dimensions chain can also be edited with the grips. Most importantly, they remain linked to the BIM data. So if this wall is modified in the BIM project, the BIM dimension chains will have the ability to update themselves. Now that we have drawings annotated with labels and dimensions, the automation continues with the creation of sheets following the template that was selected earlier. By default, one sheet will be created for each of the drawings. Each of the sheets created can be further customized. You may insert other viewports manually or insert some details like here. Of course, nothing stops you from creating more sheets manually. Of course, the drawing generated by the automation are also resilient enough to update their geometry if a new version of a BIM project is loaded. We've seen this earlier. First step is to reload the BIM file to replace the old version by the new one. Second step is to go to the drawings list and select the refresh all icon. To understand better how the drawings automation is working, we need to take a look at the script that the program is following. The user can customize the script as well. As a result, companies can make their own versions, pair their own standards, and apply to every single project they work on. So they just do it once and they can apply to all the projects. The script is a list file, which you will find in the app data roaming files of RS Commander. An easy example is to skip one step of the process. Instead of deleting the line, you just add a semicolon to the beginning. Using scripts and list programming is a powerful way to customize the drawings automation to adapt to each user needs and each company needs. To conclude, I would say that RS Commander solves a crucial problem that lies at the intersection between the more tech-savvy BIM users and the more conventional CAD users. It takes advantage of the rich information that is abundant in our BIM files and uses it to automate repetitive, manual, and error-prone tasks. For organizations both small and large that rely on BIM, this software is a powerful addition to their workflow, reducing the amount of time and money and effort that they spend on producing and updating DWG documentation. At the end, I want to say that RS Commander is a versatile and indispensable DWG tool for all the BIM projects.
Many thanks, Niknaz. Some closing remarks from me as well. It was a lot of information for today and many new features. Of course, we invite you to download our free 30-day trial and to try RS Commander, but our priority is to ensure that you can leverage the most of these features. So if you are interested, my recommendation would be that you start by sending us an email at next@gerber.com. We will organize a discovery call with one of our BIM experts, and our expert will analyze your workflow and ask for some sample projects. Then he will come back with clear guidelines, including how to best prepare your BIM data and how to configure RS Commander to produce the drawings you are expecting them. Last but not least, we are providing a sample project that you can download on gerber.com/beam. It's the same project that you have seen in some of our videos. So using the project, you can see some final drawings and test ARS Commander following the steps shown in the videos. So many thanks, Niknaz. It was a great pleasure, but we are committed to finish on time. So many thanks also to all of you watching us today. If you have questions, please kindly send them to next@gerber.com. And please don't miss our next keynote. We will be back after a very short break. Thank you.
Thank you so much.